Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow. It is Monday, and I had recently recorded almost an hour-long video. Had my head just blowing up, and there was a big rant and all kinds of stuff. And then I realized I had two microphones on, and the audio was deplorable. It was terrible. The echo was bad. But then I realized, you know what? I should redo that video anyway. So regardless, I'm redoing it. And I'm probably not going to go as ape shit as I did in that video, but we're going to dive right into the things because there's a lot going on. It's been a while since I've done a video. I just finished moving again, hopefully probably for the last time for, I don't know, 5-6 years. I don't know. And there's a lot to cover. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into it. And here we go. So this is, I got to add my, where is it? That's not it, is it? Yeah, okay, that's it. All right, so we're going to start with a little quick video about Midnight. And this is with Big Pay. This was at the Rare Evo convention. And it's pretty cool stuff. And I figured we would start off with this because it's pretty cool. So here we go.
Awesome. So, I get a lot of questions about Midnight from that interview. And one that I see a lot is, when can SPOs start running the network for Midnight?
So we actually already started working with SPOs.
Awesome.
There is this concept of launching the chain that we've decided to go, rather than go on it alone, we are partnering with Cardano. So the way it's going to work is a Cardano stake pool operator that is already being an SPO for Cardano could essentially use that same kind of modality and sign up to become a block producer on Midnight. So we're right now already working with some Cardano SPOs to try it out.
Okay.
And coming up in a couple of weeks, we're going to kind of launch the testnet, and I'm going to invite a lot of SPOs to try it out and get ready for our mainnet launch in early 2025.
Awesome. There's a lot.
So that's actually pretty cool because there's basically what they're talking about. There's going to be a point where stake pool operators such as myself with the Crow node are going to be able to basically offer Midnight as well as Cardano on the same node for delegators. And that's really going to be a big deal. I'm excited about that. And of course, I want to try and be one of the first nodes. And I definitely want to experiment with the test net of it. And there are other elements to this that I think are going to be really, really powerful for Cardano, including like the airdrop and the way the airdrop is going to work for Cardano holders and obtaining Midnight tokens. And some of you guys will say, well, what exactly is Midnight? I'm kind of new to this. And ultimately, Midnight's focus is on like zero knowledge proofs. It's let's say hypothetically, let's say you were trying to get into a bar, right? And, the bouncer, the doorman or whatever, he's like, hey, I need your ID. Rather than like show him your ID that's got like your full name, your social security number, your full address, like everything, you'd be able to basically say, this is my name. I'm old enough to get into this bar. And that's the easiest way of explaining what zero knowledge is all about. Sharing the information that's necessary without oversharing things that may puts you at some form of security risk, which I think is ultimately going to be a much bigger growing narrative as the world changes, right? And I think that that's also going to be a big deal as it pertains to identification in general. So I'm actually really excited about what's coming with Midnight in the test net. I definitely want to get involved with that. I really want to have him. I really want to have him on the channel at some point. There are a lot of folks that I met at Rare Evo that I want to bring onto the channel at some point in the not so distant future. Toncoin price crashes double digits after Telegram founder Pavel Durov is arrested in France. This is a sad tale, honestly, because there's so much happening right now as it relates to the Toncoin. And I know Ton was doing better than Cardano and all of that. I don't care. A lot of you guys think that I'm frustrated with Solana just because the price keeps going up, and that's couldn't be further from the truth. That's really not it. I'll go into that stuff later. Toncoin was doing really well, and I had no problem with that. I don't own any. I don't have any Toncoin. I do use Telegram though, but this is still sad. The price has been dropping because the CEO was recently arrested, and apparently, as I understand it, what's recently happened is, I guess when he had his app based out of Russia, I guess the Russian government said, "Hey, we want you to give us access to all of the information about all of your users," and he said no. And so then he came to the US and, basically transitioned everything to the US. And then apparently the US government said the same thing. Hey, we want all the information you've got on all of our citizens. And he said no. So then he moved over to the UAE, over Dubai. And he was basically just trying to avoid everybody trying to get him to expose all of the data on the Telegram users. And so he didn't do it, apparently, and pissed off everybody. And so as soon as he left the UAE and I guess went to France, he was basically picked up immediately. And I don't know all of the truths about the story. I don't know what's a false narrative or what's not, but that's basically what I've gathered so far. And it's pretty sad. I mean, it's sad that privacy, everything from privacy, security, censorship, all of these things are just blowing up. And it's like, we are not allowed to be private anymore. We're not allowed to express ourselves any way we want to. I mean, just the hammer's coming down across the board. It's a very scary thought. And so, it's all in the name of control of the few. And this also kind of plays into the whole narrative between, like dark projects and light projects. And I'm going to go into that later on in the video for those that care. But we're going to touch on some other cool stuff first. So Cornucopias really recently released Solus 1. This is a big deal for all of you COPI holders out there. And just, metaverse gaming enthusiasts and the like. A lot has been going on with Cornucopias, and I'm super excited about it. As soon as I'm done with this video, I'm gonna grab my coffee. I'm diving into Solus 1, and I'm gonna start exploring to figure out where I want to put my land. And so this is what's going on. Solus, enjoy exploring the vast landscapes of Solus 1, 2, and 3. Only 1 is live right now. World travel to and from Kalito Resort. Just head up to the top of the landing pad area, just across the bridge from the World Breaker in Kalito Resort, and enter the flying transport. That'll probably make me vomit. I'm not probably going to do that. Land plots, grab a scanning device and equip it on your wrist. You can find these in various locations marked with a Land Rush event sign. The scanning device will allow you to see plots in the Solus you might be interested in, as well as other locations around the map. Press the action button for the keyboard or controller to see plot details once you have found the plot. Press N to scan your surrounding area, or RB on an Xbox controller. So basically, this is what I'm going to be doing tonight. I'm going to be just going all over Solus and trying to figure out where I want my legendary large land plots and my legendary medium land plots. And I harp on this all the time. I'm like, I want to build. I really have no idea how long it's going to take until we get the tools necessary to start building. But I'm telling you, I know that once we do, it's going to be such a big deal. And I feel like the content that's going to start coming out about Cornucopias and really driving interest and adoption is going to be insane. But we're all waiting. We're all waiting for those building tools, because when you're talking about a game like this, that is going to be a massive metaverse project with land that you own, it's like, why does anybody want to own land? Well, they want to build on it. They want to put it to use. They want to do things. So we're moving forward. And I think, I'm super pumped. So I'll let everybody know more, and maybe I'll do a stream or something to that effect. I'm sure I'm not going to do it tonight, but maybe this week I will. I'm not going to show everybody the land, because I don't want some of you degens out there trying to go grab it out from under me. But we'll see what happens. Solana price uptrend ends amid heavy withdrawals. I saw some other stuff about this recently, and I found it interesting, because apparently it looks like Tron having recently launched its own version of Pump.Fun, so that now you can get rug pulled on Solana and Tron. And I am not a big proponent of Tron. I used to think it was cool, and so much happened back in the day that I'm sure many of you watching this video don't even remember or don't know anything about. Maybe you're new to the space. But it looks like Tron is trying to compete with Solana, and it's taking a lot of its power. And I saw a video recently that talked about and showed on the charts, showed on all these graphs and metrics about basically watching the institutional money leaving Solana and going to Tron, which I find very interesting. Basically leaving one shit show for what my opinion is another, because I mean, if you know about Justin Sun's tactics and the kind of shit that he does, I don't trust, honestly, I just don't trust Tron. I used to, but I just don't anymore. So, it's very interesting, but Solana is apparently losing its grip. Solana's price is bound to continue its ongoing consolidation after the altcoin failed to note a considerable recovery. There are two reasons and why Solana may not continue its uptrend. The first being the dying trend. Well, this to me is, it's like, if this is all about meme coins, and if the trend itself is dying, then Tron wouldn't be doing well and growing because of the same trend. It's all about these degen gamblers that look at meme coins like a lottery. And really all it is centralized interest pulling money out of people that are either greedy or desperate. I mean, it's basically like a casino. I mean, when you walk around a casino, what do you see? You see a lot of people that are either greedy or desperate. They're either trying to, turn $100 into $1,000 or $1 million or whatever because they're greedy or because they're desperate and they really need the money. So they're risking what little they have in hopes of changing their lives. And like in anything, when it comes to this sort of stuff, the house always wins. The average directional index falling below the 25.0 threshold indicates that the uptrend has completely lost its momentum. This technical indicator, which measures the strength of a trend, suggests that the market no longer has a strong directional bias. This suggests that the possibility of a recovery has become increasingly difficult. Without a clear trend direction, the market may struggle to gain upward momentum. If selling pressure intensifies, this situation could lead to a period of consolidation or even further decline. So, it is what it is when it comes to Solana. I had a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm going to touch on some things as it relates to Solana and Cardano and some other blockchains later on in this video, but I want to get to the meat first, of course. Cardano CEO sees AI breakthrough in Algorand partnership. This could be a really, really cool thing if it comes to fruition. We'll see. This collaboration could create the greatest decentralized AI powerhouse the industry has ever witnessed. Let's explore more about this important news for Cardano. So basically, there's been some back and forth between Charles Hoskinson and John Woods about working together to create, ultimately, setting up Algorand as like the first major partner chain to Cardano, ultimately, utilizing each other's blockchain strengths to benefit one another. And I think this is going to actually be a really cool thing. So we'll see if it continues to grow into something. But it discusses the use of Minotaur. And I don't know a whole lot about Minotaur, so I had to go look, but it's basically an AI bias chain. And it's been designed with a focus on enhancing the efficiency and capabilities of decentralized applications. It's funny. I feel like there's so much still to be explored on Cardano that even I am not even really privy to. I've been just trying to wrap my head around Hydra. I mean, I think honestly, when it comes to Cardano, there are a few things that, in my opinion, have been kind of holding Cardano back in some ways. I feel like the whales, the institutions, the big players understand it. And they also understand the way the markets move, and they also understand how to play the game, right? And I feel like you have your retail market and then your everyone else. And I feel like the narratives that have been established in crypto and how they play out in relation to these institutions or these whale investors. There are a lot of like millionaire, billionaire whales that love to play the crypto market like a game. And they all play it against each other in some ways. Sometimes they're in cahoots, sometimes they're not. When you reach a point where you have an abundance of money, a couple things transition in your head. Either one, it's a constant rush for how much more can I have, right? Who has the bigger boat? Who has the nicer cars? Who has the most cars? It's just this chasing the dragon kind of thing. I'm so not a greedy person at all. I'm kind of one of those guys where I just want enough to live the life that I want to live, which is basically like, I just want to be able to enjoy my hobbies and not have to stress money. I like to be able to take care of people. I like to be able to take care of my family and friends. I like to just try and take care of people that I care about, right? And then outside of that circle, I'm on YouTube because I try to lead people in the best direction that I know, based off of what I know and what I do. And I just I call it straight, and I call it as I see it. And that's pretty much the best I can offer for the most part. But there are a lot of people out there that they're so greedy that they will mislead, they will lie, cheat, steal. They'll basically do anything to try and get ahead. And some people are chasing fame, some people are chasing money, some people are chasing different things. And I see a lot of this stuff play out, and honestly, it makes me sick to a large extent. And we see it playing out not just in crypto, but like in politics and pretty much everywhere, right? And so when I see a lot of these narratives related to like Tron or Solana and Cardano, this all brings me to ultimately what I believe are dark projects. And I will touch base on that again, because there's a much deeper thing that I want to touch base on. But this is my Substack. Make sure you guys join my Substack. There's a link below. There's a paid version and then a free version. Make sure you sign up for that. I just posted a big thing about the Chang hard fork and a lot of other stuff in relation to crypto. And it was basically just a big brain dump, which I do sometimes on my Substack. I post things in my Substack that I don't talk about necessarily on YouTube. And a lot of my brain dumps, I basically post them free for everyone. So like anyone that's a registered member, free or not, they get access to all of that. There's going to be a lot of other things coming. And, Chang hard fork has been pushed out until approximately, hopefully, just September 1st. We have to wait an epoch because good old Binance decided to drag their feet in the upgrade. And I have to admit that I don't necessarily like that. I don't like that we're waiting on a few exchanges before the significant upgrade into the Chang era and the Voltaire can solidify. So, we'll see what happens. I'm guessing it's probably going to happen by September 1st, but the Crow node is doing pretty well. Actually, it's been growing 39.26 million currently delegated as live stake to my node. And we've been getting lots of blocks and things have been going pretty well. So I'm excited to see that. And I want to see this grow even more, honestly, because, and what's probably going to happen is if this bull market ends up pushing my Crow node into really high saturation levels, at that point, I'm probably going to start pushing other people's nodes. Last market cycle, I created a spillover node. And that started to grow pretty quick. But I think this time around, I want to try and support some of because here's the thing, to run and operate a node, it's really not that cheap, especially if you don't have a large delegation. Like if you don't have like a YouTube channel or any of that stuff to actively promote yourselves, it's kind of expensive. I mean, it costs about $250 a month to run everything. As Cardano continues to upgrade, the requirements for your node to operate also need to upgrade. You need more RAM, you need more CPUs, things like that. And I feel kind of bad for some of the node operators who have been religiously running their nodes, even through a bear market, as I have, even though, what they're generating in yield from their delegates probably isn't helping them cover costs. And so I think, if we get to the point where I start getting, into high saturation levels, I think I might start featuring like 2 or 3, nodes that have been operational for a long time, even at a loss, and start maybe sending some people their way. I might do that like once a week, maybe once a month or something like that. We'll see. This here is basically an article about Cardano's potential growth in this bull market. And this is a narrative about Cardano, its price action, and where this trader seems to think we're heading. And I don't know how many times now I see people in a variety of different ways targeting an $8 Cardano. And I'm curious how many of you remember my first $8 Cardano price prediction video, because it's been a long time. And I have calculated all sorts of things, whether it be tokenization market cap against other altcoins and Bitcoin dominance, just technical analysis based on previous market cycles. I mean, it's never mattered, and I've done them all completely differently, in completely different times. I mean, some of them are like, I'll do it a year apart, but I always end up around $8 in this cycle. Now, that's not a guarantee. That's not a guarantee that Cardano's going to reach $8. It could reach $15. It could only reach $5. Anything is possible in crypto, but there are some things that I'm going to touch on that I feel very strongly about that's going to play a role in that. Also, make sure you pick up a Cardano T-shirt if you haven't already. This is I haven't touched on these in a while. I'm always open to ideas. If you guys have ideas, post them in the comments of a T-shirt you'd like to see, whether it's a saying, a quote, or something like that. Just let me know. I'm more than happy to create a shirt for it. I plan on getting active with these again, creating new ones. And then looking at Bitcoin's price, obviously we've closed recently above the bottom moving average of the Pi cycle top indicator. And, we're going to see what happens, but we're still trading within a range, right? And that trend seems to be, if we go wick to wick, we've broken out above it, but nothing significant, right? And ultimately, it's kind of when we see a channel like this, it really is just a matter of time until we break out of it, especially in a bull sentiment, a bull cycle. And you can see here the bullish liquidity sitting up here around the $71,000 area, 72,000. It's there. It wants to go higher, but we're in a position now with the election, with interest rates, and how we're definitely going to get interest rate cuts. I think September is going to be a very interesting month because of the interest rate cuts that are coming. And so we'll see how that plays out. And, we see the situation with Ethereum. Ethereum has not been performing very well recently. And you can see we're at a 50-50 spread right now in liquidity at around the $3,800 level. But you can see we have bullish liquidity sitting up here at around 5,000, about 4,800 or so. And then as the price goes down, then it gets more bearish. And then and the narrative has been that Solana is the token to hold above Ethereum. Everybody's pushing everybody into Solana. Buy Solana, buy Solana. I'm so sick of hearing it. And I'm going to touch on that too. Cardano, of course, we're getting ready to start bouncing off of bullish liquidity, trading at around 37 cents. And I expect this to start moving up. But I read an article, and I had it in the original video I recorded earlier. And this article is basically talking about how the Chang hard fork, it was a paid narrative article. It was a bullshit read. But I wanted to point it out in this video because the article is basically talking about how once Cardano gets back to around the 41 cent range, that there are people ready to dump because of the Chang hard fork delay, right? And that's total garbage, because if you've watched my channel for the last several months, at least you've seen this is the Lux Algo indicator I've been using. It's the Lux Algo price concepts, and it's really, really solid. I really like this. It helps me a lot in kind of gauging what's going on in terms of current and future price predictions and price action. But basically, you can see up here around the 42 cent range, and then up here further around the 45 cent range, we've got this bearish price liquidity. Okay. And then, down here, you can see it's bullish. What's interesting is this has been significantly larger months ago. When the price started moving up towards this 40 cent range, this started to change and started to transition. And then we started establishing bullish liquidity right here in this area. But they're trying to create this narrative that these sell walls were put in place because of the Chang hard fork delay. And that is bullshit. These sell walls have been established for a while, quite a while. And what happens is as the price starts moving up, we start chewing into this bearish sell wall, and then we move up into the next one. Once we break through like the 45 cent range, then we can start really taking off because we don't really have a lot. Now more will be established as time goes by, but ultimately, I honestly, and this is going to sound conspiratorial, and it is what it is, but because this has been sitting here for so long, I'm of the belief that whoever was buying Cardano around 20 something cents and instantly set their sell walls up around this area. And once we start getting closer to this area, people are going to start realizing, especially if we move through it quickly based off of bullish momentum or bullish activity, announcements, news, whatever, I see us chewing through this relatively quickly. And if not, what typically happens is we might move to the upside, chew up some of that, come down for a correction, set higher highs. And this is how higher highs are established. It's by basically having that price action, momentum, and sentiment pushing through the bearish liquidity, coming down, resetting, regathering itself, consolidating, pushing back through until these sell walls are chewed up and we move past them. And the thing is that I believe that this is intentional because I've looked at other assets and there are bearish liquidity sell walls in other assets, but they haven't been sitting around for as long as these have. And I believe that these have been put in place intentionally to try and suppress Cardano's price. And once we get to these positions, we're going to start seeing paid articles and paid narratives about how Cardano is struggling to rise while X, Y, and Z is shooting up. And I believe this is all by design. I really do. And here's the thing. I'm going to dive into some of this stuff because I've been seeing more and more recently. I've been seeing a lot of Twitter feeds from like Dave, DB Crypto has been putting out some stuff. There have been more and more people opening their eyes and actively publishing content related to what they're seeing on the Solana blockchain. It is blatantly obvious what's going on Solana. And there are still so many influencers in the space trying to push it and pump it and keep it moving. Some of it is out of laziness, in my opinion, because it's easy to just keep pointing at Solana's number go up and tell the world to buy it, because then you sound like a prophet, right? So to some degree, it's ego. To another degree, I believe that it's greed. It's just sheer greed, because I have personally shared so much content and so many things with my own influencer groups, and people intentionally avoid looking at it. They want plausible deniability because their greed and their desire for number to go up and to be a proponent of that number go up, community, if you will, it's just a lot stronger than basically facing what is really going on and educating their viewers on it. And to me, it's a disservice to the crypto community in more ways than one. And I know that so many of you out there that are like, Solana bulls and whatnot, you guys come at me a lot in comments and messages like, why are you always so down on Solana? You're mad because it's taken away from Cardano and this and that. No. I really truly don't think you guys understand why I am so averse to Solana. It's not about its number go up, and it's not about the games that they play and their paid narratives against Cardano. That is what initially drew my attention. But looking deeper into it, I realize there's a much bigger problem than just competition. I don't mind competition. You've never seen me say anything negative about TON or any other asset ultimately that is outperforming Cardano in any way at any particular point in time. It's only been Solana, and it's been Solana for a major reason. And that is because ultimately, based off of the tactics and the things that I've seen, the on-chain metrics, the way the teams have been finagling numbers and doing things to make it appear like it's something that it's not, the way that it's been capitalizing on the meme coin market in such a way that so many people are consistently getting burned, but they become addicted to this chasing the dragon mentality that they think they're going to put $100 into a brand new meme coin at one of 20,000 in a day that launches, and they think that somehow they're just going to randomly get rich from that. And they're constantly being rug pulled. And it's the mentality of the community overall that continues to just ignore the facts and the reality of the chain in favor of the promise that number will continue going up forever. That scares me. What also scares me is it's this idea that the number will continue going up forever, and all of the shade surrounding this project, that it's somehow just going to fade away into obscurity as the price goes up and reaches new all-time highs and makes all of its holders wealthy. Knowing that it's so centrally controlled and that the whales have control of it, in a way that when something really dramatic does happen, if it does happen, that price is going to tank faster than I think anybody could. I mean, think about it this way. You had Terra Luna. Okay, we know what happened there. All right. You had FTX and its relationship with Solana and everybody there. We've seen this narrative play out multiple times over, and yet we continue to ignore the idea behind what Solana is. Solana is, in my opinion, an institutional tool to liquidate end users that either don't know any better or are too greedy for their own good. And their greed is being used against them by means of these paid articles, narratives, and influencers that are basically doing the same exact shit. They're setting up their users for a fall. And when this does fall, I'm not just worried about the people getting burned that are into Solana, right? Because to be real honest with you, I'm at a point now where I don't feel so bad for you. The influencers that are out there continuing to perpetuate these narratives about Solana in favor of this number go up mentality, you reap what you sow in that regard. What I'm actually truly concerned about is how a fall for Solana, if Solana were to fall the way Terra did or FTX or whatever, how will it affect everyone in the crypto space? That's what I'm fearful of. And the more I feel that we can educate people on what's actually going on Solana based off of the numbers, the on-chain data, the way everything is so manipulated, and it's basically just a house of cards, then my hope is that less and less people will be hurt by it, and the ripple effect of a potential fall will not affect as many people in the space, and we can all continue to move forward with the true technology that brought us all here to begin with. And I understand that in a bear market, it's difficult to maintain that rah mentality, right? Because it's like I always say, it's the build market. That's the time you really get to work and you start building everything that you want to succeed with the next bull market is kind of your test. How will this profit? How will this perform? How many people will like it, right? And that's ultimately what the build market is all about. It's a reset with lessons learned from the previous cycles. But when it comes to Solana, it doesn't seem like people are learning lessons from the previous cycles. They just continue falling for the same gambit over and over again, chasing that dragon and becoming victims of it. And I'm also fearful of what happens if Solana does go bad. How will that narrative play into the way crypto is regulated and changed by those in power? And when we're at an obvious crossroads, as we get closer and closer to this election, and we have one half of this aisle, that's pro crypto, understands it, wants to utilize it, wants to be known as a hub for crypto and not be left behind by the rest of the world. The other half wants to lock it down, shut it down, keep everyone out of it. They basically want to make sure that the public, the society, the citizens of the country ultimately don't have an exit plan. If everything were to fall apart with the dollar and with the debasement of it and the money printing and everything else associated with it, they don't want us to have an outlet to hedge our bets or to protect ourselves. I know it sounds bad, but that's just what I see. Because one side is vying for as much control and power as possible to basically bring us all into the same bubble, all basically sucking the tit of the government for whatever we want, whatever we need. As long as we keep our mouths shut, we self-censor, we follow in line, and we do what we're told. And that is the narrative that I see. And we're seeing it across other countries as well. This isn't just a US thing, because this is a global agenda to basically bring world power. That's just my opinion. I'm not even necessarily saying that couldn't be a good thing. I'm just saying that the way it's being done is not. And I'm trying to play it down the middle in the sense that anything could be good or bad. Crypto could be good or bad. It all depends on how it's utilized. Any object, like this sucker could be good or bad depending on how you use it. And I can create a narrative for either side of that. And I see so much of that. And I am worried about what happens if Solana is allowed to be doing all of the things that it's doing because it's playing a role that it's supposed to be. I don't even want to go deeper than that, but I see the writing on the wall, and it truly does scare me. And I know there are a lot of influencers out there that'll disagree, and they'll say, "Oh, he's just mad because of this," and that. They want their number to go up because they have significant bags. A lot of these people have been getting paid really big money for years to promote Solana. They're not going to tell you that, especially if they're outside the US. They don't have to. They can lie through their teeth and hide it all. They don't have to tell you anything. But I know what's going on. And I know that a lot of these people are getting paid that say they're not. I know what's happening because I see the information. I see a lot of this stuff because I get offers from companies all the time. And they'll say, well, so-and-so did this for this much. And, your views are this. So we're willing to pay you that. They use what other influencers have been paid for things to try and negotiate with my people and with my people now. I used to handle a lot of it myself. I don't even handle a lot of it anymore. Greg does. So I guess overall what I'm trying to say is I really want people to be more vocal about the reality of things. And it's not just because of Cardano. It's not because of any of that. Cardano is going to do very well. Cardano is actually ahead of its own game as it relates to where it was in price and so forth in previous market cycles. I believe that to some extent it is being suppressed a little bit, but I think only in the short term. Once we've broken through a lot of this, I think from that point, the sky's the limit, especially if some of these other things that I anticipate taking place through this bull cycle do transpire. That's going to send Cardano even further and potentially further than I even expect it to go. Because what Cardano is building as what I consider a light project, like if we're talking about shady activities and things like that being dark projects, Cardano is absolutely a light project. It is basically building all of the systems that are relative to the original concept of Bitcoin and decentralization being key and all of that. And now with the Chang hard fork, once that launches and the community of Cardano is truly empowered to play significant roles in how it continues to expand itself and its technology, the sky is absolutely the limit. And I see these narratives sometimes like, oh, well, Chang's going to unlock 1.5 billion ADA worth of Cardano, and that's just all going to go get sent straight into the shitter because they're going to do all kinds of stupid stuff with it, and it's all going to end up on the market. And I'm like, you're a fool if you believe that. It hasn't happened yet with Project Catalyst. yeah, there are some projects that probably shouldn't be getting the funding they're getting, but it's not like we're going to see like 500 million tokens in the hands of some degen who's not really building anything, and it's all just going to get dumped on the market. That's asinine to even assume. It just doesn't work that way. We've got D-reps, we've got voting, we have so many different elements that are going into this kind of constitution of Cardano that play significant roles in how all of this stuff is going to happen. So I think ultimately, I think we need to focus more on a lot of the positive elements of Cardano. Instead of it's a bear market going into a bull market. Cardano isn't being pumped the way Solana or some of these other like shadier projects are, these more centralized projects are. You can't compare that because Cardano doesn't have centralized control mechanisms to inflate the price or to make the markets here, there, or another. It's not built the way that some of these more centrally focused projects are with the same agendas. And I can't stress that enough. And I feel like we really need to start focusing more from now on. We need to start focusing more on the positive, powerful elements that are going into Cardano and what it dares to achieve and what it is achieving moving forward, and less time focusing on, Cardano's price doesn't move fast enough for me, because you're being spoiled by projects that are likely houses of cards that are likely not going to be standing here tomorrow. And I can't stress that enough. We have to get back to the fundamentals. And I used to focus on the fundamentals a lot, early on. Those same rules still apply, but money has been changing the narrative in favor of these degenerative assets and efforts and agendas of basically venture capitalist groups and their friends that are ultimately sucking liquidity out of you all the time, while filling you with the idea that you're going to get rich tomorrow off $100 because you bought another pet rock, and you happen to pick the one out of the 20,000 over a 24-hour period that was making people wealthy before it was like rugged by everybody. I mean, we have to start getting more realistic. My investments in crypto are risk averse. I do not take the risks I used to take back in the day when I was still learning how things work. And if you're new to the space, you'll know, watching my channel for a longer period of time, I call it as it is. And I'm always right sometimes. I don't always get everything 100%, but I definitely go with what I feel, what I think, based off of countless hours of research, watching videos, reading reports, reading white papers, reading everything boring that you don't want to. And then I basically tell you how I feel about it and what I see, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. And if that's what you want to see more of, then you'll like this video and you'll subscribe, and I'll continue sharing my thoughts as we continue to move forward in the space. There's a lot of really good, amazing things that are happening in Cardano, and we need to start really sharing those concepts, those stories, and all of that with the community out there, and continue growing the community. I feel like everybody should have like $100 a week or $100 a month or whatever automatically set up on an auto buy a Cardano to keep those juices flowing, keep pushing through some of the price suppression that I see and some of these narratives, because there is a war going on. And don't kid yourself. There is a war going on, and this war will absolutely play on your fears. It will play on your vices. It will play on your greed. And if you fall victim to it, then you will become exactly that, victim to it. And these people know exactly how to get your goat, how to structure their ads, their articles to make you feel a certain way. And we're seeing these types of things play out across the board in all verticals and all business, politics, and you name it. Okay. That's it. I did this whole video without yelling and screaming, unlike the original video. And, there's a lot more coming, but we really need to start pulling together. And on top of that, I feel like we need to do better at basically educating people, not only on the use cases for Cardano, but we need some of you really good technical minds out there that understand the code and understand things. We need more content out there explaining how the technology behind Cardano can be effectively utilized in new use cases. We should probably start giving the world ideas as to how to best utilize the technology that's being laid out right in front of us. And we're not seeing enough of that. Cardano is absolutely in a league of its own, but we're relying on people that may not be all too familiar with what's being built, the way the programming languages operate. How does Haskell benefit somebody trying to achieve X, Y, Z? And why is that more beneficial than somebody using like JavaScript or C or any other programming language for that matter? Solidity. We need to start doing a better job at educating the world on the powers that are built into the Cardano ecosystem and start empowering people to start making changes of their own and becoming a part of it. So until next time, guys, thanks for joining me. Crow your coins, and I'll see you soon.